Hello everyone. Welcome back to a older What If series that, well, to be quite honest, I put on the shelf for a little bit. And yes, the reason that Hype Train Deku was put on hold is because this was close to wrapping up, and I wanted to give the rest of this series its just desserts. For the next couple uploads, this is what will be being played. But please, what if Izuku was a vigilante? Let us get started, shall we? After the explosive devices would go off, it would be safe to say after Curious's declaration over the line to those who could listen, some of the people that are there are furious that Curious would even think of turning over the Meta Liberation to a quirkless man, while some are actually, for lack of a better word, pretty happy. Because there are some people that were in the Meta Liberation that were quirkless, that agreed with some parts of it, disagreed with other parts, and wished to make small changes, but for the rest, thought it was pretty logical. It made more sense. Through time and understanding, Izuku Midoriya would go forward. And become stronger. The wolf's name no longer just being used for him, used for the now organization that he has. Now, unknowing to him, a very angry man Destro is not happy at the moment. From the bombing, he lost 2 of his agents. Trumpet and Getten. 2 fairly important people to the liberation. And according to what Keith has heard, Curious has become a turncoat, as well as a fair few of the Meta Liberation members with weaker quirks. Quirks that were seen as undesirable, and people with intelligence-based quirks, specifically, because this piqued their interest more than the things that Destro had. So, it's safe to say that more often than not, Izuku has a significantly stronger foothold in the underground. Above ground, people like Nezu know of him. The Hero Commission knows of him. Hawks knows of him. And one person, they've got a interesting letter, knows of him. A woman that Izuku remembered when he was younger. Someone powerful. That did what needed to be done and hated the commission more than he did, which is an accomplishment and something to find impressive. Truly remarkable. The ex-pro hero, Lady Nagant. The sharpshooter hero, now known as Villain, locked deep in Tartarus, in one of the deeper points of the prison. The only reason that letter got there is because of Izuku's sway within the commission. That is it. Granted, that letter was heavily screened, and it was allowed to stay in that room, but the commission didn't see any problem with it. After all, it was made on site by the droid that asked for an ink and pen. So, after accomplishing that, he realized something. Something very important. Something that would be considered beyond reason. There's no way that Lady Nagant would understand a secret message. However, there was one there. But it wasn't there properly. What they didn't know is the glow-in-the-dark writing. The glow-in-the-dark ink that was used on specific kanji in the letter. Some kanji not even fully finished, almost making new kanji entirely. Well, not new, different kanji. And it says, step 1, earn the beast's trust. Step 2, grow in power. Step 3, break the chains on the bird's legs. Step 4, skewer the winged beast. Step 5, ride it to freedom. During this, and Izuku's, for all intensive purposes, hostile takeover of a majority of the logistics and engineering departments of the Meta Liberation Army, he was able to do one thing very important and very keen. I also forgot about another part. He got the media. He got the media as well. Because of, curious. But during this time, there's a very intriguing thing. The Camino Ward incident, alongside the incident at the training camp, would occur. And Izuku would not do a thing but watch. And wait. Because the League was on his radar already. And All Might's true form has been revealed to the world. Sure, he may be using Curious to paint All Might as, for all in a better word, a man who has done much for society, but has helped a flawed system. And now that he is gone, crime will rise exponentially, such as the bombings of Devnarat and etc. During this time, Izuku has tried getting a hold of Stain again. He has not been able to. Sure as shit isn't through lack of trying. So one day, he would have to get off of his office chair, don his armor once more, and the wolf must go out to hunt. But the wolf is not alone anymore. The wolf has his own pack. And this pack may be less armored than he is, but equally as dangerous. Just as vicious. Thanks to the help from the engineers, he was able to make 2 more androids with much higher functionality and better parts to boot. Izuku Midoriya is fairly happy. And that's putting it politely. He is fucking stoked. And he's genuinely hoping to run into trouble. So him in the truck, driving, cool, calm, and relaxed, going to location after location, because Stain did continue his killing, and he did kill some of the people on Izuku's list. But not all of them, not yet. He's come close, though. Through this time, he did try. By God, he did try. He also failed, among some things, to find Stain. However, he figured out of a Yakuza organization that was heavily quirkist, specifically just against quirks, period. Which confused the shit out of them, because looking further into it, their boss has a quirk. Which made him mildly annoyed. So after a meeting would be set up to have a conversation, after a couple days of negotiations going back and forth through proximity, well, proxies, a neutral location. A location at the border of Yakuza territory that has been used for time and time again by Yakuza of old and new as a neutral ground. A very nice tea shop known as the Jade Dragon, ran by an old man with a longevity quirk only known as Iroh. Also known as the Dragon of the East by any Yakuza old enough to remember the war that brought the Yakuza to the sorry state that they were in. Because Iroh was, and still is, at least according to rumor, a fucking demon. But anyway, back to it. At least that man has manners, and to be honest, makes very nice tea. So him, Izuku Midoriya, and this man named Chisaki Kai, also known as Overhaul, would sit, both of them wearing gas masks, Izuku wearing his armored uniform, because why the fuck would he not? It would be foolish, at least in his opinion, to walk around without it. They're eating in the back room. Pretty nice spot. And Izuku knows that there's a guy on the floor. But at the moment he doesn't care because there's a gun under his left shoe that can and will shoot that son of a bitch if he so much as moves too fast. Because he's too paranoid. Especially after the sports festival. He's seen some kid make the ground soft and swim through it. He's not about that today. Hey, he doesn't know, and quite frankly, is not about to test his theories on how quirks work. Even though how interesting that would be, it would be unwise to do it at this moment. Izuku would be the first to speak and say, "So you are Overhaul." To be quite honest, I expected someone with no quirk. I do not wish to jab, but it is depressing to see someone with an anti-quirk movement preaching that quirks are a disease and not curing yourself. That is illogical. Chisaki wouldn't really know how to take that. Because it didn't sound backhanded to him, because it was genuine, it was interesting. And he thought about it, but he's looking to bring the Yakuza to the forefront. Sure, he believes that quirks are a disease as well, that's a secondary objective. But Yakuza first, world second, at least at the moment. Izuku Midoriya is, how would I say, an overachiever. at least in Chisaki's mind, and he's done incredibly well for himself. This wolf, who has proudly said that he was quirkless, walking into this location, he respects it. He respects it a lot more than some of his men. And he very clearly knows that the wolf is no fool. No fool by any stretch of the word. So, he doesn't really say anything to that, what Izuku said. He doesn't respond to it right away, at least. A dip in the conversation would happen again. And Kai would say, my quirk is incredibly useful for this project. After all, to my knowledge, you have found my product before, yes? Yes, I find it quite interesting. I believe, possibly in higher dosages, that it could do something. However, there's a question that I have. Is there an erasure quirk that you are using to, well, take their DNA and see what makes them able, and just jamming it in here? Because there is people DNA in this. There is a person's DNA. From what I was able to scavenge from it, it is female, which is impressive. So I'd like to ask, because this makes me curious, how old is the person that's allowing you to do this, if they're even allowing you to begin with? I personally wish to know, because I do business with a specific type of people. Chisaki would look at Izuku and for the first time speak. Personally, I do not believe that would be your concern. However, you wish to speak of a business arrangement. What do you wish to speak of? Well, here's the thing. I don't do business with specific people, so I'm going to say this one more time, or I will finish my tea and leave. How old is the person, and are they willingly giving you their DNA sample? After all, I know I initiated this contact, but I know that you've been looking for me for a very long time. But the main question is, how willing are you to possibly think of a proper way to go about business? You see, I really do wish for our relationship, if it were to come to reality, to blossom into almost a family-esque friendship. However, I need to know if you're fucking with children, primarily. A simple yes or no answer will do. Yes. They are young. Quite young. I do not remember their age. I just know they are in almost double digits, maybe single. I don't know. Quite frankly, don't care. Kid's quirk is something, though. I see. The rest of the meeting would go by in a blur. Izuku giving fake attention, but poking and prodding at Chisaki's Kai's mind. The reason that I skip over this luncheon is because nothing else mattered to Izuku after that point. There is a rule that Izuku has made for himself. Do not fuck with children. The father could die, but you will not touch the child. You will not kill the parents in front of the children, or vice versa. There is zero tolerance policy. And unknowing to Shisaki, Izuku has now begun doubling effort to deal with Chisaki. But more importantly, he is particularly targeting his quirked bullet sales and taking them by force. And oh man. Chisaki doesn't know who's doing it. Neither does the League, which would have entered their full alliance with them at this point. And they've been talking back and forth. Izuku Midoriya's, well, the Wolf's raid will happen exactly 4 minutes before another thing would happen. So, we shall continue forward with what that raid would entail. Shall we? 7 members. 7 people alongside of 7 machines. Sporting newly modified quirky racing bullets alongside armor-piercing, high explosive, and other nasty blue tip rounds and green tip rounds that are just as fucking disgusting. Now, they didn't go in the usual way, no. They went in through the back door. The secret entrance that Kai believed wholeheartedly no one knew of. But Izuku, alongside others, knew one important thing. They knew how to squash a bug and how to burn it out. The people would go in first until stealth would no longer be an option. The first 7. One of those 7 being Izuku, who, in the wolf armor, modified slightly, but the wolf armor nonetheless. During this time, Izuku would, for all intents and purpose, be pushing forward on his plan. Killing Yakuza, the members that didn't notice him, no named, but killing them quietly with suppressed weaponry and things of another nature. 4 minutes into the operation, everything is going swimmingly. They're close to Ares' quarters. So close. The kid that they were looking for was so close. They were going to sedate and then evacuate. And then they could go loud. However, 4 minutes, the time is struck. A loud rumbling would be heard overhead as Yakuza would begin mobilizing. A couple of moments after, they would, instead of nicely opening the door, realizing they don't have time. And this is going to scare the shit out of the kid, but it's for their own good. Because to have the kid freaking out during a stealth op that's going sideways is not the best idea. So instead of creaking open the door like they wanted to, Izuku just opens it, throws a gas grenade in the room, shuts and locks the door. As the 7 automaton units would then enter through the same way that they entered. They weren't that far behind, but they would be fully active and ready to kill on sight. Which is when Shisaki and others go around the corner to get Eri. At this time, Izuku is holding Eri behind his 13 men. And Izuku is not waiting for some monologue bullshit. He's just running. And he decides to pull 2 pins off of his chest, drop 2 cylinders evenly spaced away from one another down the hallway that he is running, and keeps going. Izuku, as he is running, is going faster and faster. He stops at a very important location, at least to him. He kicks open the glass door and grabs vials and briefcases alongside the downloaded document on his flash drive. Grabbing the briefcase and going, Izuku would be running. And then, coming from the left side of the wall, some blonde Where's Waldo motherfucker just hits him in the face. Ace, almost causing him to drop the child. Slightly loosening up his gas mask, but not knocking it off. Now, from Lemillion's point of view, he passed by people fighting in a hallway that were clearly not the people that he knew was in the area, but persons running. And he's dressed like a person that was fighting Chisaki. He doesn't know that they're involved with anything, so he's assumed immediately, as he should have, hostile. Decided to come through the wall and punch him in the mouth. Now, Lemillion will then say, "Stop and hand over the girl. Get on your hands and knees. You're under arrest, villain." Izuku would then stop, look at him, turn back around, still hearing the conflict between Chisaki and his goons. He knows that they're gonna die. He expected them to die. He doesn't really care. There's a reason that he picked up scum, brushed, covered them in bleach, made them kind of stable, and then just put them in kill suits, because they were meant to die. Because as soon as their heartbeat stops, guess what? Their armor explodes. So yeah, it's pretty linked up. Izuku would then say, assumedly you are a hero of some kind. Yes. Oh, wonderful. And he holds out to give Lemillion Eri. Get the kid out. I don't care if you know who I am or not, that's not important. I'll cover you. Unless you could teleport out the same way you came in. Good. Now, Lemillion is kind of taken aback, confused, but at this point, this guy looks like he's military, and he doesn't know exactly what the hell's happening, so he's just kind of going with his instincts at the moment. That and this guy doesn't even really look mildly bothered that he got punched with a bit of one for all. So he's not really inclined to want to fuck with that, play the fuck around and find out game right now. So yeah, not good. Meanwhile, the vestiges of One for all of them have hands and fucking head, looking irritated. Because Lemillion forgot about the mission briefing partially. A little bit. He was supposed to stick together with Night-Eye, something he didn't do, so he did remember that much. Other than that, he didn't really care for. There's what did he do to break protocol? Well, a lot of things. He just accepted the hostage, expecting the person that he originally assumed was a villain to cover him and make an escape. So that's the first couple of rookie things that he did, but we're gonna glance over that, because what's the hero's job first and foremost? That's right, motherfuckers, it's the rescue. And who's the rescuee? Eri. The rescuer. Mirio and whoever the hell this person in World War II advanced armor looks like, some fucking stormtrooper. So he's not gonna mind. After all, this kind of looks like hero gear. So he's just gonna accept it. Mirio asks, where's the exit? Izuku's essentially behind him, pointing him directions to where he got out. Well, he entered and escaped. Meanwhile, Chisaki just finished dealing with all of them. All of these goddamn people. He can't use his quirk, so he had to use firearms, which didn't do shit. So, after essentially a drawn-out gunfight between Chisaki, Chronostasis, and like multiple machines and multiple people, he's kind of fucking winded and hurting. He got grazed a lot and hit in the shoulder a couple times. So he's not doing the best. However, good news, his quirk is back up and he fixes himself. Bad news, he's fucking tired. So, after some time, him and Chronostasis are able to start trying to catch up to the person that took Eric. Izuku realizes that his squad is dead. He tells Lemillion the rest of the way. He pulls out his gun. And he says, I'm going to deal with the other one. Focus on the other two. Focus on the rescue. And he pulls out a big 6-shooter. Like a very big 6-shooter. That's almost fitted in a rifle-esque configuration. Izuku proceeds to open up the, what would be considered the eternalized magazine of this, and he begins to load a very large, very thick bullet. Now, to those that do not know what an elephant gun is, look that shit up right now. This is a modified elephant gun. Made of quirk-enhanced metals that Izuku kind of found. Well, not found, had one of his engineering guys make, and he's doing pretty fucking good for himself. That and these bullets have been modified to do something very important upon contact. These were made not only to enter the body, but after entering a target and going about an inch in, they are meant to detonate. So there is explosive rounds that, explode upon basic contact. And then this shit sinks in and detonates. It's essentially just a fucking tank shell that's just modified to be smaller and put in a rifle. That's essentially what Izuku did for these. And these things are sent from Satan. If it was not for the fact that he was wearing a power armor frame, these would obliterate his goddamn shoulders. Let alone his upper body. He would not be feeling so good, Mr. Krabs. He would not be feeling it. So, Izuku just kind of waited around a corner. He heard two people running. Izuku crouched, shouldered his weapon, waited. 1, 2, 3, pre-fired the corner. Chronostasis whips around the corner, and he loses his chest and up. Chisaki was right next to him, bone fragments, as well as the limp arm, slam into his chest and head. His arm slamming into his head, bone fragments into chest. Izuku realizes, since this was essentially the second time he fired this gun, holy shit, that still hurt his shoulder. But he could fire it about like 2 more times before it becomes a problem. But there is a more pressing issue. The barrel's fucked. The barrel is fucked. It was clearly not rifled properly. He's lucky it didn't explode on him and cause, the rest of the ammo to detonate. Thank God. Or he would be a very, very dead quirkless person. But Izuku would then throw that gun to the side. I'd pull out just a regular, just a Glock 7. And just slowly just start peeking the corner. Waiting for Chisaki. Until a little spike hits him in his armored chest, smashing him against the wall. Izuku holds in a grunt of pain. But Chisaki's like pretty sure whoever the fuck did that's dead. So he goes around the corner. Chisaki then proceeds to get shot in the fucking chest. Because he wasn't really expecting, someone this heavily armored to still be here. He thought they would still be fucking running. Nope, I guess he fought. Because he might have gotten lost, he guesses. He doesn't know. Maybe Mimic switched shit around. But he's uncertain. But so far, Izuku is having not the best time right now. He just shot Chisaki. He's pretty sure his ribs are fucked. And he is in fucking pain. Something that he is usually in because of the vicious amounts of exercise. But this is different because of, the amount of owie he is in. Because that shit dented his armor inward. And probably, at least in his head, broke his sternum. So he's not doing good. At least at the moment. However, he shot the person with the quirk nullifier round. At least he shot Chisaki. He hopes that's Chisaki. He hopes to God that's Chisaki. But when Chisaki essentially hits the ground and groans, he realizes, okay, that's Chisaki. And proceeds to just try to unload. Chisaki tries to use his quirk. It fucking fails again. So he gets shot more. So Chisaki's very fucking hurt. His quirk isn't going to turn on. And Izuku uses the power armor to slowly but surely chip and break away at the large spike that is pinning him to the wall. And it finally cracks away. At this point, Chisaki is damn near bled out. Izuku then proceeds to reload his weapon, walk over, still staying out of reach, points his gun at his face as a man that he wasn't expecting to see rounds the corner as, what do you know it? The person with fucking future sight just rounded the corner as he fires a gun, hitting Chisaki straight in the fucking dome, splattering his brain matter all over the floor in a vicious Venn diagram of He's fucking dead. Anyway, back to the important matter of the story. Night Eye sees this, whips one of his darts, and Izuku is just barely able to dodge the two darts that were sent flying and hit the wall beside him. He's pretty certain if those hit him, he would be dead because of his current armor integrity. So he does the only sane thing in this situation. He pulls another 2 pins off his chest and begins running down the hallway that he proceeded to use as an ambush location. And a straight lead to his truck, who is started up and ready. Night Eye has not gotten contact with Mirio yet, because he's still dealing with, an unconscious child and getting them to, the medics. He essentially had to go like 2 blocks. But Night Eye, when he does get the call, he can't really focus on that right now. Oh, because he's chasing someone that is filling the entire hallway behind him with smoke. Now, does Izuku end up dropping the gas grenades? Oh, of course he does. Am I going to tell you what's in those grenades? Oh, hell no. You're just going to have to figure that out later. Well, at least by the description, you're going to have to figure it out. As Night Eye begins running, his gag reflex kicks in because of the fucking smell. And he's trying. He has smelt corpses. But this was chemically made to overstimulate your smell and give you 50 shades of fucked up sorts of nausea. Essentially what he did, Izuku Midoriya, I want you to imagine that prank gag liquid ass, like that stuff, in gas format, chemically concentrated and boiled down to a even more refined stink, and given the properties of tear gas. It fucks it. Night Eye's not having a good time. Night Eye's having a really bad time right now. But neither is Izuku. The only reason Izuku, who isn't having as bad of a time as him, is because of A, the filters, and the fact that he has tear gassed himself before. Why did he do that? Oh, just to make sure he knows what it felt like. And to, well, not fuck up. Because he doesn't want to get tear gassed when he's, unawares and be useless. So essentially what he did, he trained in fucking tear gas for a while. So he could make sure that he could, at least partially function somewhat competently in tear gas. Because all he has is his bullshit determination and will to say fuck you in the ground that you stand on. But, after a while, Izuku is able to get in the truck and drive off. But Night Eye is also a very smart man. So as he runs out and sees the truck pulling away, he could barely speak into his earpiece. But he gives a description of the trailer on the back of the truck. Which tells a couple people who that was. And who just, was there. It was a wolf. a person in the underground who has gotten very, very ballsy, some might say. But as Izuku is driving away, he realizes something annoying. He forgot his goddamn gun. As later on that evening, the weapon would be found and put in for evidence against the wolf, because that shit very clearly killed a man. Now, there was no fingerprints on it, surprisingly. Or if there were, it was too smudged for it to really be read properly. But, yeah. Today, this is where this is going to end, at least for now. I hope all of you have enjoyed this episode. No, this is not the finale. We didn't even get done yet. But, yeah, no. Hope all of you enjoy. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, and understand that I do have channel membership, and if you want to help your boy in his time of need, I'm going to ask you to, like, give, I'm begging you, give me some money. But other than that, I hope all of you enjoy. Have a nice day. Peace.